I'm taking a few hours this Sunday morning just answering random questions, dealing with some trolls, answering some questions that people have about all sorts of subjects. And this person has a question about our company. So this person says, so the company you and Renee own is making the money on the content you make, ? And you and Renee are owners/employees, ? So we own a few companies, and it's broken down like this. Our companies are what is called Schedule or Series LLCs. Let me just briefly explain what that is. This is a company setup that was designed for people that own rental properties, multiple homes. Let's say you own 10 different homes that you rent out. Used to be, you had 10 different LLCs with 10 different bank accounts and 10 different tax returns because you didn't want to put all 10 of your rental properties under one company umbrella. Because if something happens at one house and you get sued, they can go after all of the other houses that the company owns. So you would put each of your rental properties into a different LLC, okay? Hang on. Sorry, somebody was calling. So that's the way you used to do it. Instead of putting all of your rental properties under one LLC, you had all these different LLCs. Then back in the day in Delaware, they came up with the Series LLC or the Schedule LLC. And what that is instead of forming an LLC for each different company and having to do a different tax return for each different company, you form for a little bit more money. So let's say it's $500 to form an LLC in your state. For $850 instead of $500, you can form a parent LLC, and then you can form little LLCs off of it. Each one of them an individual company, each one of them with their own legal protections, but you don't have to file a tax return on each one. Anything that each one of the companies makes flows back up to the main company. And each one of those little companies is called a series or a schedule. And so you pay, let's say it's $500 to form an LLC in your company or in your state, and it costs $850, let's just say, to form the parent. Each individual LLC is $100. So every time you form a new company, it's $100, $100, $100, $100, $100, just to use round numbers. Renee and I have a parent company. That's a series or schedule LLC. And off of that, we have little companies. We have a holding company, which is the company that owns 50% of the trucking company. We have both Renee and I are mobile notaries. Renee works with mortgage companies from time to time when the market is good. Right now, it's really not that great. And they will call her and say, hey, we have a closing out near you, out by Joliet. Can you go to the client's house and do the closing? And she goes to the client's house about an hour-ish, goes through all the closing documents, gets them to sign everywhere, stamps everything. What a notary does. So that's a company unto itself, right? So we got the holding company that owns half of the trucking company. We have the mobile notary company. We had, Renee was going to do some transloading consulting, which is what she did for 20-some years. But there really wasn't much interest in the transload consulting business when Trump started his trade wars, and who knows who the hell is going to be moving agricultural commodities in and out of this country. So it's just really a pullback from that. And then we have a company that is our social media company. That's Old Hippie Media. That company, that's one of the LLCs that we own. That company is the company under which I do everything. All of the content that you see on social media, all of the merch that I sell in my merch store, the publication of my books, my podcasts, everything is done under that heading. Every one of our companies, from the parent company to all of any of the individual LLCs, they're all owned equally by Renee and I. We own everything 50-50 across the board. So now that we're focusing right now on the social media content through Old Hippie Media, we're both owners, but we're not employees, if that makes any sense. I mean, we both work for the company, but that's because we're owners. We don't have any employees. We're 50% owners, each of us. I make the content She then takes the content and edits, puts the descriptions and the titles on YouTube, and then does the thumbnails. Gives them back to me. I schedule them for release on YouTube. And then she takes our live videos and breaks it down into smaller videos, and we'll schedule those to go out. So we work together, hand in glove. I create the content, she edits the content, you consume the content, it generates revenue for us. And that's our business setup. Now, we'll get rid of the trucking company that we're pulling out of the trucking company. Once the trucking company goes away, the holding company will go away. There will be no use for the holding company anymore. We'll maintain our entertainment company, our Old Hippie Media. We'll maintain our mobile notary business, and we maintain our legal structure setup so that if we come along, the next business opportunity comes along and we want to jump into something, somebody comes along with a partnership idea, or there's an idea that we have that we want to jump into for $100 or whatever the number is, we can quickly form another LLC off of the series and get up and go to work. So who knows what the next venture is?